Welcome to the presentation for the preliminary results of SIFE project, Understanding SIFE's Context, Co-Constructing New Opportunities. This project is the result of a partnership between the Office of English Language Learners of Boston Public Schools and researcher Diana Valero, a visiting fellow at Harvard Graduate School of Education during the 2013-2014 school year. Throughout this presentation, I will try to explain briefly on the process of the project. I will present the demographic of immigrant students and, specifically, SIFE students. I will also present the preliminary results for the Haitian students and family organized into 4 categories: the socioeconomic component, the socio-emotional component, the academic component, and the family component. Then I will discuss the limitations of the research and the next steps, and finally, acknowledge all those who made this project possible. In this graph, you can see the project schedule. The first arrow shows the SIFE project starting mid-September 2013. We received the approval of the HSR, Human Subject Research, by the IRB, Institutional Review Board, and the approval of the Office of Research. Assessment and evaluation of BPS by the end of January 2014. Interviews and preliminary findings to Spanish-speaking students and families were completed by May 2014. The second arrow shows that we are currently completing now, which are the interviews for Haitian-speaking families and students. The third arrow shows our next steps with Cape Verdean-speaking families and students. The SIFE project allowed us to interview many students and families. We visited them in their homes and their schools, using a communicative methodology we talked about. Children's performance in the schools, expectation, dreams, lives in their home country, current problems, and their community context. The interviews provided us with extensive information about the individuals that are behind the big data. Please note, when we talk about the SIFE students, we refer to those who have been identified as SIFE, but they could have been misidentified. I divided the preliminary findings in 4 components: academic, socioeconomic, family, and socio-emotional. We will go deeper in all of them in a few moments, but it is important to highlight that all components are related, and it cannot be understood without one and another. As a result of the preliminary findings of some of the components, BPS launched 2 new projects. One component was academic piece, and a new partnership was created with the BC School of Education to launch a hydroponics project, which was piloted this summer in after-school programs. From socio-emotional component was born the social project, where we will try to demonstrate, based on research, that the higher socio-emotional component support the better academic performance. I am going to use the definition provided by the Director of SIFEs from BPS, Ewald Charles. Who is a SIFE? A SIFE is a student who, for some reason or another, has been identified to have at least 2 or more years of academic lag when compared to students of the same age group and are unable to function in regular classrooms without intense academic support. A SIFE usually originates from other countries, Spanish-speaking countries, Haiti, Cape Verde, China, etc. A SIFE may have little exposure to the workings of an academic setting. A SIFE, initially identified by the Newcomer Assessments and Counseling Center through native language literacy and oral testing, and family interviews to determine eligibility. Again, for the next slides, I'm going to use the data provided by BPS and Ewald Charles. Let me start by saying that BPS has approximately 56,000 total students, from which the 30% are identified as ELLs. This sums up 17,000. Regarding this population, approximately 270 are identified as SIFE. This represents 1.6% of the ELL population and only 0.48% of BPS population. This specific population of students is placed mostly in high school and then in middle school, where we can find 129 and 61 respectively. Focusing on high schools, we are going to describe Haitian Creole speakers, who represents 22% of the SIFE population in BPS. Given these numbers, we conducted interviews with high school students and their families whose language was Haitian Creole. All these interviews were conducted according to ethical protocols, accompanying necessary consents, all within their native language. Take notice that there are a lot of similarities with Latino students, and in this case, I am going to refer you to the presentation we already sent to you. But also, there are a lot of different focuses, especially in two main aspects, the socioeconomic and the socio-emotional components. Let's start with the first one. When we studied Latino students and families, we saw that the socioeconomic component included aspects such as differences based on country of origin, influence of students' role in family, differences based on gender, differences families versus students, debt, and employment. Haitian students and Latino students are completely different in this aspect. The family socioeconomic status is the same for the Latino and Haitian families, but for students, it diverges. While the most important thing for Latino students was that most of them had their own budget. They had to pay rent for their families, they had to pay for their own trips, they had to pay for their own debts, they had to help their families in their home country. This forced them to work, and of course, this had an impact on their academic performance. This is not the case for Haitian students. Haitian students arrived to the US called by their families here, and they did not need to pay for their own trips or lawyers. It implies that they do not have debts and they do not need to work. Haitian parents feel that their own role is to support economically for their children so that they can focus on their studies. It does not mean that Haitian families do not have financial problems. They might be low-income families, but it is not a major concern for Haitian SIFE students as it is for Latino SIFE students. The family component influences especially the socio-emotional component. I have placed in this component facts such as migration process, restructured families, family socioeconomic status, family needs, and family school relationship. All these facts are common to Latino students, except the fact that all students interviewed arrived to the States after the earthquake that occurred in 2010. Migration process of these students started while they were in Haiti, because even there, they were in constant motion. This is due to financial reasons, which has made their family move or separate, depending on their parents' jobs. This situation has had an important impact in their education. First, as most schools in Haiti are private, when family have no money, they have to stop attending school, and they receive an inconsistent education. Second, as they move within Haiti, 56% of them have attended to more than 2 schools while they were living in Haiti, not including kindergarten. Most of them even had 6 different schools. When the student reunites with his or her family, they may find a completely different family structure. For example, that the mother might be divorced and is now remarried. The student has to introduce him or herself into a new family with new siblings. This situation can cause stress and sometimes discord within the family. In this slide, you can see some percentages that illustrate this situation. We can conclude that the relationship between families and schools is very weak. Participation of parents, families, in school-related activities is very low. One of the difficulties reported is schools are unable to accommodate the schedules of parents and vice versa. However, socio-emotional component for Haitian student is more complex. They do have the same issues that their Latino peers have, such as the lack of strong family ties, untreated traumatic experiences, and social and educational exclusions. But some of them may be more serious because we have to take into account their prior experience of their lives in Haiti, such as having fewer resources, instability, and constant moving, which is very similar to what Latino students had in their country of origin. We must note that traumatic experience of the earthquake, which took place while they were at school. As noticed in previous slides, only 12.5% of Haitian SIFE students live in the States with their complete family. This implies that the other 87.5% of Haitian SIFE students has different kinds and levels of family loss and separation. For example, 37.5% of Haitian SIFE students are separated from one of their parents, and another 37.5% live with new families due to separation, new partners, new siblings, etc. While they live in Haiti, they were with other members of their family, which means that they experience a double loss. First, when they become separate from one or both of their parents, and then when they moved to Boston and lost the family they grew up with. After just one interview, we cannot diagnose someone with a mental illness, but we can ensure that there is a strong evidence of an unhealthy mental health. The emotional unstable living environment that they had in their home country worsened after the earthquake, because although they did not lose any relatives, they suffered a very traumatic experience that in many cases remains unaddressed to this day. Furthermore, after suffering another stressful experience, such as moving to a different country and joining a new family, some of the trauma may exacerbate and affect students' educational outcomes. We can see in orange some characteristics Latino students share that are not at all present in the Haitian students, according to our research. As with Latino students, another important fact is that SIFE students socializes only with other SIFE in the same class. This helps when they arrive to school, since they communicate in the same language, same country of origin, and culture. This also becomes an issue since this peer reference group do not provide them with other interactions that could help them develop their English skills and their inclusion in the school. This manifests the fact that none of the SIFEs that were interviewed participates in after-school programs with non-SIFE students. Everything we've seen so far has a direct impact on education. Every student is different, and as we have seen, the Latino community and the Haitian are also different. Although within the academic component, there are common issues such as education in the country of origin, the period of time without schooling, or previous education experiences within US. In our last meeting, I presented three different levels of education in their country of origin: illiteracy, interrupted education, and education not interrupted but qualitatively inadequate than in the States. During their interviews, we did not find any students illiterate, although it does not mean that all Haitian students are illiterate. One main characteristic of Haitian students is the fact of their interrupted education. Regarding this topic, it is important to highlight that 1. A lot of parents have no idea what their children did in their home country. They do not know if they went to school, if they interrupted their education at some point, or how often they switched schools. 2. The earthquake has interrupted students' education for a prolonged period of time. It was not only because the school was destroyed, it was because they or their families were scared. When they decided to move to Boston, they stopped going to school as they did not know how long it was going to take. And as seen, they have to pay for their education. Each of these cases is difficult to solve in classrooms, especially because the students between the age of 16 and 18 have a small academic level compared with their peers. Thus, incorporating them into a class of their level or incorporating them to a same age class are not suitable options for them from the educational administration. The result is that there are specific programs only for this kind of immigrant students. Despite that they have very different educational background, they cannot take advantage of working with native peers. We have already introduced some facts that influence SIFE students' education, but in this part, we will go more in depth within this element. First, 93% of Haitian students do not receive any kind of kindergarten education. During elementary, middle, and high school, 62.5% reported to have significant interruptions in their education, being the two main reasons: financial hardships and the earthquake. A lot of them stopped attending schools after the earthquake and did not start again until they arrived to the States. Even when they lost less than a year of schooling, they may have inconsistent education as they frequently switch school and stop going when their family cannot afford it. They might lose 1 month for financial reasons, then move to another city and go without school for another month, etc. Another important fact is that even when there was not a specific part nor question during their interview, when asking about how was their school in Haiti or which was their favorite subject, 56% of them mentioned learning problems, although they have never been evaluated in this regard, nor in Haiti nor in the US. We cannot assure that they do really have any kind of problem, but it is an important fact to handle in the future. The SIFE program places them in ninth grade even though the actual equivalence is a 6th or 7th grade, so they receive a special curricula adapted to them. In this program, which only works with 2 teachers, students receive 2 classes a day in English and 4 in Haitian Creole. Their previous knowledge of English is very little to none, and they require a lot of support in this regard. Most say they feel no interest in extracurricular activities, and they go directly home from school, not spending time with peers. They only see useful in supporting activities relating to their homework because they have no support at home, as their family do not speak English. While 69% participate in after-school programs for homework, only 31% are involved in other after-school activities. This is important because in these activities they are with English speakers of their age, and they have the opportunity to practice their English, while in after-school programs, they report spending more time with other Haitian students. Regarding special educational needs, from a socio-emotional point of view, to note that none of the students have been evaluated for possible special educational needs such as DHA. However, emphasizing over the presentation, there are students who have not developed study habits, have not acquired the skills of memorization in the maturational reference period, or even if they did, they now have issues possibly associated with emotional trauma, which means that they do not have special needs. We confirm the conclusion that we have reached in the previous phase of the project. Failure and dropout rates are higher for SIFE students because they have psychological needs that go beyond academics, which directly influence their educational outcomes. Students and their families need more support from the government to get out of the social risks in which they live. The school is an ideal place to meet the needs of students holistically. But also there are specific conclusions for each population. For example, Latino students need more socioeconomic support than Haitian students, who need more socio-emotional support. I would like to thank all the research team, but especially to the volunteers for all their hard work. BPS and OELL for their support, time, and data provided, and Paila and Ucheli's Harvard Graduate School of Education for allowing me to develop this project.